All right, welcome to another episode of the Bulldog Bark Podcast. I'm yours truly, the Guru. With me, as always, got my partner in crime, BFC Butler's fighting crew in the building. And we're taking a little pivot from our usual Butler basketball content today, and we're going to talk some Butler football. We got a very special guest in the building. We got the head coach of the Butler Bulldogs, Kevin Lynch. Coach, how you doing, sir?
Great. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Appreciate you hopping on with us. Excited to kind of hear about, your tenure so far and what to look forward to this year as we get ready. It's just a few weeks away, right? Get ready for another football season here. So, just kind of taking a step back before we even look into this season. Um, you know, you came in last season from Ball State. I always considered it a trade. Mike, you went
Yeah.
to yeah, right? Yeah, Coach, you went to Ball State. You came here. Talk to us about that process a little bit. I mean, obviously you have the ties to Butler with your dad and everything like that, and you played in Indiana and everything. So
Yeah.
what was kind of that process like? When did you kind of say, yeah, I want to be a candidate and I want to be a head coach of the Butler Bulldogs?
Uh, right away. Things happen so fast in this business, and you got to be ready and all those things. But truth be told, Coach, you got the job, or at least was introduced on that. I think it was a Tuesday, it might have been Monday. Um, but I had talked to Butler. That was about 9 a.m. when I talked to Mike, and then I talked to Butler about 2 p.m. that afternoon. So it happened pretty fast. Did a Zoom the next day, and then kind of started the process there and had a couple interviews, and was hired about 8 days later. So happens fast, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Did your dad playing here and your dad coaching here, did that have any impact
Yeah,
on like your desire to come here?
yeah, absolutely. And not just my dad. Certainly, that had a huge impact. But most people that I know and have been close to my family have so much Butler ties. Obviously, my dad played here and then coached here for a lot of years as assistant, and then certainly as the head coach. When I was born, he was the head coach here at Butler. So my first memories of college football are being at the bowl and all those things. So certainly that. And then I worked for a guy named Coach Bob Barlow at University of Indianapolis for 6 years. He was my dad's defense coordinator at Butler and Ball State, but he was the head coach at Butler as well. So just a lot of ties to Butler. I've had numerous cousins that went to Butler. Just a lot of family, aunts, uncles, etc. So Butler's always been, our school in my family for sure.
I mean, it is the best school in the world, so I mean that makes sense. I totally get it.
I,
But
I, I absolutely.
small bias there, but yeah, I think it is. Obviously Ball State being FBS and now you're coming to like FCS and it's obviously the head coaching role. What was that
Sure.
transition like? I mean, you're going from an FBS program where you're calling the shot offensively and everything like that to now, hey, you're the head coach of an FCS program. What was that transition like?
Yeah, I think any job that I've had in my career has helped me for this one. As you get new jobs, no matter what that is, whether you go from position coach to coordinator, there's a lot of newness, learning curve, however you want to look at it. I think I've had really good mentors in this business of how it should be done as a head coach, and being able to, take pieces of all those programs and certainly be my own personality and do things the way I think it needs to be done at Butler. The cool thing about Butler, and I've talked to the team about that, you're taking over a program. And when I say that, it's not one of those things where you got to come in and set a new culture. That's what's so cool about Butler and so unique about it. It's got such great tradition and such great pride that you didn't have to worry about a lot of those things about getting guys to buy in or love playing the game or love being at Butler. So certainly learning curve of just some of the different hats that you're going to wear and being a head coach and involved in budget and some of those things that you don't necessarily have to worry about as an assistant. But that part coming to Butler was very smooth because of the people here and great support and very sincere people.
Yeah, that kind of actually leads right into kind of some of the other things that I want to talk about too. I mean, you know, you talked about the culture, like how it's already built there and everything like that. And obviously, last year 6-6, very solid season, and I think I was what 4-4 in the PFL.
Yeah.
What are maybe last year, trying to continue that culture, you want to, I think in your press conference, like off the bat, you talked about like bringing championships to Butler and stuff like that.
Sure.
When you got there, what were maybe some things that you said, here's, while the culture is set, and I love that we have that, what are maybe some things that you were like, I want to try and do X, Y, and Z to really ascend Butler to being consistent PFL, contenders?
Yeah, I think you just said it. Consistency. We got to find a way to get over the hump. We've been pretty good here the last 4 or 5 years, specifically in league. Whether it's a 4-4 record or 5-3 in the league, but all those teams the last few years have been in November playing for a championship. We got to find a way to get over the hump, and kind of really went back and dove into some things the last 10, 12 years of we got to play better in November. We got to find a way to um, play our best football at the end. And whether that's changing how we practice a little bit or how we prepare, those things are some of those, uh, from the here and now, how we got to win in 2026. But overall, like you said, when you talk about taking over the program and the whole thing, that is the best part, that you don't feel like you have to make a bunch of changes to how we operate. Certainly, we probably practice a little bit different than the previous staff, or we call offense a little bit different or defense a little bit different. But in terms of guys keeping the main thing, and their students first, and football is very important to them, but they got their priorities straight, and it's a fun place to coach that way, because football is very, very important to them, and it consumes a lot of their life, but they're still able to be Butler students and get the Butler experience, and you get the best of both worlds here. It's totally the total package.
Yeah, absolutely. And one last question, I'll pass it off to BFC for some questions.
Yeah.
But reflecting on last season, what are maybe a couple things you said to get over that hump? What are a couple little tweaks that you see that you'd like to change or capitalize on heading into this season?
Yeah, I think offensively and defensively, you're always going to have a few tweaks here and there that fit your personnel. Maybe not a wholesale scheme change, but certainly what you have in the building, and who does what best, and whether that be quarterback, whether that be receivers on offense, running backs, however that shakes out, and then certainly defensively, what's your best skill set? Whether you're your team that's going to play coverage and keep things in front of them, or you feel better about blitzing or whatever. You know what I mean? You're going to always make some tweaks that way. But more than anything, it's stuff that we got to fix. We were -7 in turnover margin. Really amazing that we won as many games as we did, because we finished near the bottom in the country in a turnover margin. So it's a simple fix to say, harder to do. Obviously, we did all the things that you need to do in practice to be successful at taking care of the football, and certainly doing turnover circuits and those things to take it away. But we got to execute and capitalize, whether it's dropping an interception or not falling on a fumble. And then certainly on offense, obviously protecting it. So that's something that would have flipped our script very, very quickly. In some of those PFL games where we lost by a score or whatever, we lost the turnover margin 2-0 or 3-1, or one of those things that, you can flip that. You got a chance to be at the top pretty quickly.
Absolutely, man. At BFC, what you got?
Yeah, I think kind of jumping into into the season. One thing that I love that we've done, and Coach Hugh obviously did when he was here, and you've continued, is challenging yourselves early against the
Yeah.
the FCS best. This year, you got a
Yeah.
chance to take your shot at the defending national champs. What do you think are kind of the big benefits of being able to do that every year?
Well, number one, it's a great experience for your players. Not only challenging yourself against the best team in the country, and a team that's been very successful for several years. That a program that knows how to win, and obviously have a certain way about going about it. But again, going back to just a great college experience, and traveling to different parts of the country that you're not used to probably going to, and in some ways a once in a lifetime opportunity. Then, like you said, we're going to play them, and they're going to be their first home game since their national championship, and what an opportunity for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, one thing, obviously, when you coming in, the retention of talent, I thought was really impressive to kind of keep a lot of guys around. One guy being the quarterback, Reagan Andrew.
Yes.
That's a guy that I actually went to the same high school as him, so I'm a little more familiar
Oh,
with his winning
yeah,
ways. 53
yeah,
and 16 as a starter since high school. How
yeah.
do you think that benefited you coming in and kind of you know, getting the sense of the program when you retain some leadership from the previous coaching staff?
Yeah, he's the best. When you talk about that from a leadership standpoint, he's just an extremely tough kid, and he battled through injury last year and didn't get to play all the games, but certainly had a great year, and we're looking for him to have a great year again this year. We were able to keep a lot of those guys, and I think we're you know thinking, I guess, in this new world of transfer portal. And I hate to say it, nowadays, it's kind of what kids just think they're supposed to do when there's a coaching change. And again, that wasn't so much me, I don't think, but when you do get a chance to have a conversation with a player and you talk about Butler and you talk about the Butler experience, you talk about having the opportunity at Butler and you look at some other options, I think they knew that that was the best opportunity for them. So, yes, very lucky because when I first got the job, there were several guys in the portal that we had to kind of re-recruit, but that wasn't to be honest. Once you just got a chance to meet him and have a conversation and talk more about Butler than yourself, and that was good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, obviously losing top wide receiver to the FBS level. So kind of replacing some of that talent. I
Yes,
think that Butler's always had, the skill guys. We've always seems to have kind of some go-to options. Who are some guys
yeah,
that maybe you have circled that you think are going to be key contributors this year?
yeah. So I think offensively, we've been at camp since July 29th. Had a scrimmage on Saturday. And then this week's pretty critical for kind of, as I told him tonight, this is kind of movement week, right? Like who's going to solidify some spots and, before 2 weeks before that first game. And then you kind of start honing in on exactly what you're going to do and maybe start, preparing for Georgetown there week one. Guys that are coming back, and I obviously got the quarterback in Reagan Andrew. His backup played a lot for us last year in some roles. Gabe Piscini, who's probably our best athlete on the team overall. I think will do some stuff for us as well. And then receiver wise, Nick Munson returns for a fifth year that's had a productive college career and came over from Ball State last year and did some nice things. Also a good punt returner. Chet Yardley was injured early in camp last year, and then he really came on in the back end of the season. I thought did a really nice job. And then we got some guys that have waited their times that I think are going to do some really good things this year. Blake Matthews from Carmel here locally will play a key role at receiver, and so will Michael Nix. So those guys have been in it. Tight end wise, again, we graduated three, and they were very good players and played a lot of football. But I think we got some two guys that have again waited their time here. Gage Golaski from Penn and Keith Long, who's actually local from Cathedral here, and then we got a transfer, Luke Snyder, that is a fifth-year kid from Davenport that I think is going to do some really good things. And we moved a quarterback to tight end, Landon Hochstein, that I think is going to have a really good year. So I've done that a lot in my career where we've moved some quarterbacks to tight ends, and that's worked well. Running back wise, really excited about that position. We added some transfers that are good, that are fifth-year guys, but we got some young players that I'm excited to see them run around. And then the coolest part for us, we got every offensive lineman back from last year. We have 9 guys that are still on the roster that started a game last year. So we're going to lean on those guys big time.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of the final thing, I know you touched on it earlier. Obviously, the program's been revitalized as of late. Gotten a lot of fans really engaged, and yeah, we're obviously, as everyone is, looking for that next step. You just, we've been in every season. Feel like for the last 4 or 5 years, felt like that Pioneer League title is within reach.
Yes.
Drake is
Yep.
kind of the game that I always circle. So kind
Yeah.
of circling back to the rivalries in the conference, and what do you think you need this year to finish those games where all have been tight and it can get chippy, it can get physical.
That's
Yeah.
the lesser Bulldogs, the lesser Bulldogs. That's what we like to call. Yeah, yeah.
I like it. Well, I'll be honest, man. It's like, it's such a competitive league and there's so much similarity between the teams. Maybe not necessarily scheme all the time, but player. And now really being here a full recruiting cycle, and then kind of half of one when I first got the job. Um, Man, we recruit a lot of the same guys, whether it be talent, whether it be area. Um, so there's so much similarity that way. I think it's an extremely well coached league. But you just look at all the one score games that we had. Drake won it last year. Obviously, they beat us by 5. Um, but they had a bunch of one score games. A lot of these games could go either way. We were 6-6, probably could have been 10-2, and could have been 3-9. So it's such a fine line to win. It's really hard to win, but it's been a really fun league. Each week is a heck of a challenge. But you like that as a coach, you like that as a player, and in the back of your mind, if you have a great camp and you gel as a team and you make sure your chemistry's right and all those things that don't show up on the field. On the field, I said it earlier, we got to do a better job in turnover margin, and we're going to be all right. We got to score more touchdowns in red zone, kick too many field goals. But we were pretty darn good on third down. We were pretty good on defense most of the time. And I'm excited about this group, and I can't wait to watch them play here in a few weeks.
Yeah, speaking of the turnover margin, you touched on a lot of the offensive guys. What defensively can the fans look for this year?
Yeah, for us, I think we got some really good players at all 3 levels of the defense. I kind of start with the older guys, just because whether it's them kind of buying their time or have played, but now really getting into a starting role, or just being great program guys. We got a 5th-year safety named Steve Stephanie that's played a ton of football. That I'm really excited for him to have a great senior year. We got a corner named Cam Armstrong, another local kid here from Lawrence North, that has played a lot but not really started. He's going to be a starter and has had a great camp so far, that I'm excited about. And then a young safety named Madden Barrio that played some games as a true freshman last year, but he's had a great camp. And then still buying out and competing at the other corner spot. And then some of the other safeties I think are definitely going to be in the mix, whether it's Andrew Leesky or Nick Cloyd. Linebacker wise, we're really led by Mason Armstrong and Jackson Stratton. They've had really good careers. Jackson led the conference in sacks last year, from linebacker, but kind of put him down at an end at sometimes on third down. They've had great camps. And then D-line wise, I think we really got some good ends. I'm really excited about them, whether they're older guys like Jaden Norris that's played a lot, but we got a younger player that's a sophomore that I think is really good, named Akim Diaz, from Dayton, Ohio. That's you're going to watch number 11, and you're going to be excited every time he takes the field. And then inside, you got a guy named Luke Green that's done a good job as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And looking at this season, kind of a two-part question. You talked about how the whole conference is obviously, at the top, there's always, 4 or 5 teams. It feels like they're like one game out of it. Maybe who are
Yeah.
some of the teams that you're looking at this year? Like, okay, maybe those are some of the top contenders. And kind of part 2 to that, is there any particular team that you kind of look forward to playing the most?
Yeah, I would not say I look forward to playing anybody the most. Um, I, especially now in college football, and I don't care if you're in the MAC, Big Ten, certainly the PFL. Like each year is so different, in terms of who's got what, and our league has a lot of turnover, specifically coaching. Um, so each week, schematically is you never know. The good thing for us, you don't play a conference game until week 5, so you're going to have pretty good idea what each team is and what they're about. But what is cool? Last year we played them last game of the year, but having a rivalry game and playing for a trophy with Valpo is always neat. Having trophy games and something that is a little extra there to play for, I think is really neat. And we go up there first conference game, so certainly excited about that. Dayton coming at home is always awesome. Playing a game like that and talk about a team that it seems like we recruit the same players every year, so that part's really cool. You kind of know their players, not only as players but on a personal level at times too.
Yeah. Speaking of recruiting, what's that sales pitch like for a school like Butler? It's obviously FCS level, and then just competing in today's portal It's just kind of mayhem, really.
Mhm.
What's that like for a school like Butler? Kind of what is your sales pitch to players? Like what draws them to Butler, and then what are maybe some of the I guess pros and cons of kind of this current landscape?
From a university standpoint, it's an easy sell. And again, nothing's easy, but uh, Butler has everything. I use the word total package, whether it's the education, whether it's having an opportunity to play FCS football, obviously basketball and the other sports being in the Big East and having some of the Big East resources that you might not have at some of the every FCS schools is a huge plus. We're the number one regional university in the Midwest, U.S. All the rankings that we could go through, whether it's the business school, whether it's pharmacy, whether it's communications, anything that young men want to do. Obviously, us starting an engineering program is huge for us football wise. People that we recruit that way, but I think, like you said, whether it's going to school at Butler and the opportunities it's going to afford you while you're in school, but certainly later in life, and the networking that you have at Butler, and then frankly the network that Butler football has is really impressive, especially if you haven't been here. And I've been at other schools, and every place I've been at has a ton of pride and a ton of pride in their place, but Butler's different, and it's truly a special place, unique. That when we get guys on campus, and it makes sense for them dollar wise, we don't lose very many. So that part of it is just doing a good job in the evaluation of making sure the guy's a good player, right? But selling the university is something that isn't that hard to do because it's a special place.
Yeah. And then what are some characteristics, like if you were to say like here's a Kevin Lynch football team, like what are some of the characteristics that you look for when you're trying to build your roster?
Yeah, I think each position obviously has their characteristics. If I start at quarterback, I've played with them all in terms of whether it's a true athlete and a runner first and throw it second. I've kind of had the dual threat. I've had pocket passers. At the end of the day, at that position, I'm looking for winners. I think guys that you mentioned Reagan's record in high school. Guys that know how to lead a team and find ways to win, and football is really, really important to them. I think sometimes you can look at that a lot of different ways. I've had some good quarterbacks that high school's teams went 6-4, but you look at their high school in recent history, and they were 1-9 program, but they take them to something they haven't done before. So I think that's important. I think up front, man, you want guys that obviously you'd like to say physical and tough and all that, but bottom line, you want guys that really like playing the game and playing football, and football is really important to them. And then defensively, same thing. You're just looking for guys that fit those specific positions. Obviously, you're looking for something different at D tackle than you are at corner, but it's got to be guys that like to play the game, physical, but they play it with a lot of fun and a lot of energy. And I hope when someone watch us play, they're going to see a team that you go, man, they're excited to play. And my goal for our team each game, and every time that we're the most excited to play. And I think that's got to show, and that's got to be evident every time we take the field.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one more, and then I'll give it over to BFC. But do you guys, what's kind of your emphasis on like Indiana recruiting? Obviously, you guys brought in a lot of guys from Indiana. Is that, I mean, obviously, it definitely is, one of your pipelines. But what's kind of the focus there? Obviously, with other big, you got a bunch of FBS schools in the state of Indiana. How is that recruiting in the states? And do you guys obviously emphasize trying to keep local talent?
100%. I mean, it's always going to start in Marion County and then the surrounding counties, obviously. And you see us have obviously kids from Marion County, but Hamilton County and Johnson County, Hancock County, Boone, whatever it is, Johnson, all those different counties that we have that touch Indianapolis. We got a big group of kids that come from there. One thing that obviously is a benefit, we see a lot of them, whether you're seeing them at the camps that you're going to, and they come see us, and you establish those relationships. And Butler has such a great reputation here in Central Indiana in our state. That obviously once we get in the communication phase of talking to those guys, you feel pretty good that you're going to get them to visit, and then whether it's a fit or not, is case by case. But it always starts there. But the great thing about Butler, and we can cast a pretty big net. Like I said, it'll always start in Indianapolis and certainly surrounding counties, but all of Indiana. But we got a big stretch of and a big group of Chicago kids and Detroit. We're dipping into Nashville a little bit. Done a great job in Southwest Ohio and Ohio in general. That's obviously great state of football and a lot of bigger cities, so you got a lot of talent to choose from. But I was laughing on our D line the other day. We got a guy from San Diego all the way to New York City and Boston and Dallas. So we're pretty spread out that way. And the other state that's been good to us recently, you look at our roster, is the state of Wisconsin. So we got to cast a big net, but it's certainly always going to start at home.
Yep. PFC, got any further ones?
Yeah, I think just one last question. We'll let you go. Just what's your message to Butler fans as we get into this season?
Come see us. I think if you've seen us play, and whether it's been last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you're going to watch a lot of guys that love to play. It's a really good product on the field. Obviously, in college football today, it's very easy to watch all kinds of games. All our games are going to be on ESPN Plus now in the league, but you're going to watch Notre Dame, you're going to watch Indiana, all the different power conferences because it's so easy to watch on TV now. But if you're in Indianapolis, I guarantee you'll like the product and you'll watch really good football players play at a high level. So I think you would really enjoy watching the way our guys play and the energy that they bring to the field. So come see us.
Yeah, I can
absolutely.
definitely vouch for that. It's tough to beat a fall day in the bowl, especially with the product and the offense that you guys run. It's not really old school ground and pound. You're going to see some points, and then I've really enjoyed watching it the last few years.
Well, that's the plan. I hope. Right now we're still August 10th. We got to find a way to get some points right now, but we will. We'll get there.
Hey, Coach, if you don't mind, I'd love to do a couple like quick rapid fire questions just to it's kind of like a get to know you type thing.
I love it.
If you don't, all right, let's do it, man. So I'm gonna start off with a simple, let's do some little nice easy ones here to start. Favorite football movie?
Remember the Titans.
Oh yeah, classic. You can't
Yeah.
you can't go wrong with that one. What about if you
That's right.
weren't coaching football, what would you be doing?
That's a great question. I think there's like three things that I think I would like. I don't know which one it would be. I think sales, obviously with my background in recruiting and things like that. I love law enforcement, maybe something like detective wise, or lawyer, something like that. That's kind of what I think I would like.
All right, so going into that, how
Or a
about
basketball coach. I don't know if I can do that. If that
just switch
counts.
the sport?
So
What?
yeah, that's
Uh,
right.
yeah, that works too. What are your favorite hobbies outside of coaching football?
Yeah, I got 5 kids. My wife and I, love doing things with them. Like a good day on the lake, something like that. But those are kind of what I am now. As my kids are getting older, I'm pretty much just going to different ballparks or gyms, watching football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, whatever it is. So that's kind of what I do.
All right. What about before a big game or just any game or practice? What's your amp up music?
Random. I don't have a like a select list. If I do listen, a lot of times I kind of weirdly sit in silence and kind of look at the call sheet and try to script the game in my head a little bit. I've kind of done that the last 6 or 7 years. It kind of gets me in the flow.
Can't remember who it was. I think it was Drayton Jones on the basketball team. We interviewed him one time, and I can't remember.
Yeah,
I can't remember his answer. The answer was some huge curveball I've never heard of in my life, and it was like I listened
it,
to it later, and I was like, "I'm sorry, what are you listening to?"
Yeah,
It
I'll
was,
be honest. I've done it, and when I do listen to music, maybe on a bus, it's kind of like I just click Pandora and like whatever plays plays. I don't
yeah.
really have like a tag list, but generally speaking, I'm trying to memorize some things on the call sheet that I don't even have to look at because I know what I want on a certain down and distance or whatever.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, big family. What's your favorite vacation spot?
Uh, we like going to a lake family. Always enjoy getting on a boat and hanging out and watching the kids have fun. And I can't beat a good lake day.
What about favorite restaurant?
Anything with steak. That's kind of where I would
Nice.
like a good steakhouse.
All right. There's some good options in Indy, so that works out well.
Yes, Indy does a great job. There's a lot of opportunities for sure.
Yeah. Maybe a
Again, I
couple.
got a bunch of small kids, so generally speaking, like McDonald's, but that's all
Right.
right.
Exactly. I got a
That's good too.
I got a 15-month-old and so I'm not there yet, but I'm waiting. It's
I got you. I
yeah.
hear you.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
telling you that they talk about the terrible twos. They don't talk about the terrible 1 to 2 year old. I don't know if they talk
Uh,
about that very much.
I would tell you I have a 13-month-old, my youngest,
Yeah.
and they are worse from 12 months
Yeah.
to 20 months in my opinion.
They are like
My wife might
drunk.
disagree, but exactly,
They're like drunk little
exactly.
babies. It's crazy. A
They
couple
just fall
couple
and hit their head. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. A couple like football specific ones. What's the best stadium you've ever coached in or played in? Other than the Selleck Bowl,
Man,
obviously. We know that's number one, but other
yeah,
than that.
that was gonna want
Yeah, that's
man,
cheating, yeah.
that's a great question. I've been fortunate enough to be at a lot of them. Played at Tennessee at night one time that was pretty cool. Notre Dame, is a good one. Michigan, Penn State. Went to Georgia. It was okay. They got after us pretty good though, so it was kind of dead. Um, but those SEC Big Ten places they're all kind of the same, but they're all awesome and have their own uniqueness that make them pretty special.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then I like this one. This is actually one of my friends. I was asking my buddy, I was like, hey, like, where's some good, like, just some good football ones? He said, would you rather win 7-6 or 49-48?
Man, this is not cliche at all, but I do not care. I do not care. Uh,
Win's a win.
yeah, win's a win. It's so hard to win. Give me 3-2 or 50-49. I'm good. I'm good.
I like it.
Yeah.
Little 2-0 action, get that safety going. I like it. The
Heck yes.
what about what's your favorite so let's go favorite football team? NFL.
So
Obviously no college.
yeah, mine would have been Colts. I'm an Indiana guy through and through. So when I was old enough to start really paying attention and remembering, Colts were doing solid with they had a good run there with Jim Harbaugh, but then certainly obviously the Peyton Manning years and on. So I've been fortunate enough to be around really good Colts teams, and as I've gotten older and then getting a chance to go to some of their practices or sit in on some of the meetings, it's just a first class organization.
Yeah. As a Bears fan, I don't know what that's like, but I understand. It must be fun to cheer for a good organization.
Yeah.
Once the Bears move to Indiana, do you think you might change allegiances or it's
Well, I'll tell you this. The offensive line coach for the Bears is a former Butler offensive coordinator, so that's
yeah.
good. And then the assistant offensive line coach I worked with at Ball State. So I do root for the Bears right now every Sunday because I got some friends up there. So
They've
absolutely.
taken a lot of years off my life, but yeah, hey, we had one good
They're,
year, you know.
they're trending. They're trending in the right direction.
Once you've gotten pessimism ingrained in you, it takes a while to get out of that. I'm just expecting us to
Yes.
flop next year. It's
Hey, at
rough.
least your team's only moving across
Come on.
across to Illinois. They didn't move to California.
That's true. Yes, you're right.
I have no
That's right.
remorse for
That's
Bears
right.
fans right
That's
now.
it.
That's yeah. That's very
That's
true.
right.
Yeah, it's not great. But BFC, did you have any more? I feel like I just
Yeah, I would say just a quick one that I had was not to hurt any other players' feelings, but you're the most skilled or best player you've ever played with or coached?
Mm,
Let's
that's relative.
excluding
That's
current team because
that.
they're all great, obviously.
Yeah. That's right. That's relative though to your level. Um, had a couple really good football players early in my career at UIndy. A wide receiver named Marquand Edmonds and a wide receiver named Reese Horn. For our level, they were the best in the country. Um, when I was at GA at Indiana, one of the best football players I was ever around there was a guy named Tannen Doss from Ben Davis that was just an awesome player. Um, at Ball State, we had some really good backs. We had a guy named Caleb Huntley, Carson Steele, who's from Center Grove. Those were pound for pound really good football players. Man, there's a lot. That's a tough one. Offensive lineman Danny Penner was a great one at Ball State that's playing for the Ravens right now. He could do a lot of different things, not just play O line. So that's a tough one, but that's how I'd answer that one.
Yeah. But no, Coach, I'm kind of out of stuff. BFC, got anything else, man?
No, no, we really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
no,
I
really
appreciate you
appreciate.
guys having me.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Anytime we can sell Butler and Butler football, man. I mean it.
absolutely.
It is a awesome place, and very fortunate that I get to be a part of it, and my family gets to grow up here at Butler and all that. It's if you've never been here, or if you see it for the first time, I think it's just a feeling you leave that place is special. And what's cool is guys like you, like alums, man, they love Butler, and not every place has that. So the pride and all that, man, I definitely one, it's really cool because it's an easy sell for recruiting, but you definitely take a lot of responsibility in the job because there's a lot of people that care about the university.
Yeah, absolutely, Coach. And yeah, no, again, really appreciate you hopping on. Really excited for the season and what you guys are going to do in year two. Sounds like a lot of good things are happening. And again, the season's right around the corner. I can't wait for us to upset Montana State. It's gonna be so sick. I cannot wait.
What? Well, oh, I appreciate that. We gotta get prepared for Georgetown first,
Right, that's
but I
true. That's
like it.
true. That's true. But yeah, no, but again, really do appreciate you hopping on. Excited to for another season and looking forward to what you guys can do. And I always love to end these with a nice go dogs.
Go dogs! Love it. Thanks, guys.